Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So as you've probably gathered, we're doing a road trip across southern Ireland. So I kind of just wanted to make a video documenting the beautiful, hopefully, scenes of Ireland. So far it's been pretty good. And then also just my experience driving on the other side of the road for the first time, which was so far the most difficult part was getting out of the car park at the airport because they had all the pedestrian signs labeled as exits and I was following them in a car. So going around in circles for what seemed like forever, but finally got my way out, and so far I've pretty much just been on the motorway, so it's been pretty easy. The only thing that I've noticed so far is for so many years I've navigated using the left lane marker, and I find if you do that in a right-hand drive car, you end up in the other lane. So I've had to retrain myself to look at the right lane marker, and that's pretty much the only thing that's been a little challenging. The shifting is actually really surprisingly easy. I haven't been on any B roads yet, or really navigated any cities, so I'm sure that will be a challenge. What car do we have? We have a Renault Megane Wagon thing. It's a diesel. No idea what the specs are on it. So far it's been okay, although this car is very French. It has some very Doug DeMuro approved quirks. And by the way, I met Doug DeMuro when I was on Nantucket, and he was an absolutely amazing guy to talk to, super friendly. So thank you, Doug, for taking time out of your vacation to talk to me. But this car has some weird quirks, like for some reason the speedometer, every other car I've ever been in, the speedometer is incremented by even numbers, like 20, 40, 60, and this one is odd numbers, and the speed limits are all even numbers, so you're like trying to stay on the degradation between the two, which is just weird. I mean, not really difficult, just weird. And the fact that it's a manual and it doesn't have a tachometer, instead it has a temperature gauge, unless you put it in sport mode, kind of weird. And the cruise control is down here, which is like, why is it there? No, I'm not really probably gonna use it. But that's pretty much it. Initial impressions driving from Dublin, Galway. I hope you guys like this episode. day 2, we headed northwest towards Connemara National Park and Kylemore Abbey. This presented the first challenge of driving on the narrow country roads of Ireland. After passing under the rainbow and failing to collect a pot of gold, we left the Vermont-esque landscape to a new landscape I've never seen before. The roads narrowed and the heavens opened up. Kylemore Castle was built in 1868 as a private home for the family of Mitchell Henry, a wealthy doctor from London. The abbey was founded in 1920 by Benedictine nuns who fled Belgium in World War I. The castle and Victorian high-walled gardens are impressive and the cost of entry is reasonable. After leaving the abbey, we headed south, back to Galway, driving on a portion of the Wild Atlantic Way, a 2,500-kilometer posted trail along the Atlantic coast of Ireland that offers stunning views and plenty of worthwhile stops. Hey guys, and welcome to day 2 of driving in Ireland. So I just wanted to give you an update on what it's like to drive in Ireland. Pretty much the biggest takeaway I've learned is if you're using Google Maps or Waze or iPhone Maps or whatever you're using, pretty much double your time it takes to get anywhere because the speed limits are extremely overjudged, I guess, here, or non-conservative. Sorry, I don't know a good word for it, but for instance, like the B roads, the speed limit's like 80 or 100 Ks, but the roads are so narrow, there's just like no way you can go that fast, especially if you get behind a tourist or a tour bus or whatever. It's kind of shocking at first too, how narrow the roads are here, but eventually you kind of get used to it. The one thing I would say is, I mean, I drive a manual back home, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me that I wanted a manual car when I was here, and it was way cheaper to rent. But the thing I would say to people, especially if you come from a country where you drive on the right side of the road and you're not used to driving a manual, if you're the type of person that like once in your life learned to drive a manual and you're like, oh, I'll save myself a significant amount of money because it is a pretty good difference on getting the manual versus the automatic, I would say don't do it because it just kind of adds another thing to concentrate on than driving on the other side of the road, super narrow roads, having to move over whenever there's a truck or a camper. So yeah, that's my one recommendation. Double your time everywhere, and if you're not super comfortable getting a manual, don't get a manual because it takes a lot of focus just to drive on the V roads alone without those things. Sure that they're all the shapes alright. How you manage, are you on your own? How you fixed for the seat pack on? Where the choice country, take it back. Ain't no way, doing
With just an hour drive and 45-minute ferry ride from Galway, the wind-swept Aran Islands offer breathtaking views of rocky beaches, rock-walled farms, historic forts, and staggering cliffs. Cycling is surely the ideal method of transportation to explore the island's many hidden secrets. Leaving Galway, we headed south to the town of Doolin, where we would be staying for seeing the Cliffs of Moher. The cliffs run for about 14 kilometers and at their peak reach a height of 214 meters above the Atlantic Ocean. We took a bus to the south end and hiked the entire way back to Doolin. Doolin, a small town, is noted for being the center of traditional Irish music played nightly in its pubs. The coastal town offers a warm, welcoming atmosphere, and I would highly recommend staying there for one night while seeing the Cliffs of Moher.
Christmas love is here. All the boys looking fine. Knocking the door and ringing the bell. Show me to a wagon. Out she's coming, it's a white as snow. Hangs on the fingers and he tells in the bill. Walk down the mark, she will set you alive. Best in the color with a rope and on. Tell me now when I get home, the boys will leave the girls alone. Throw me head and stone me down.
Thirsty roads, take me home to the base, right below West Virginia.
After a fun night in the pubs of Doolin, a small 50-meter walk from our B&B, we headed to the town of Killarney, the most picturesque town we stayed in during our journey. Killarney, often a home base for travelers seeing the Ring of Kerry and Doolin peninsulas, also has a beautiful town center and stunning natural beauty featured in its national park. Despite growing up in Maine, Killarney is the greenest place I have ever been.
Hey guys, so it's about halfway through our trip, so I just want to give you an update on Ireland so far, what it's like driving and experiences we've had so far. But pretty much the driving aspect is more or less the same, although I will say you do start to get comfortable with it pretty quickly. The driving on the other side of the road is pretty alarming for like the first day, and you pick that up pretty quickly. And then it takes another day or two before you're like really comfortable with all road situations, just as far as how narrow the roads are here, and then I guess how high the speed limits are too. For the twisty roads, like you definitely can't maintain the speed limit through all the twists and turns, although once you get more comfortable with driving down the other side and the narrow roads, it'll become more easy for you. The hardest part so far for me to master was the roundabout, and just basically how you indicate properly on the roundabout, because it was kind of confusing at first. But as far as I can tell, when you're entering the roundabout, you indicate to the right, or some people don't at all, and then when you're exiting, you put on your left turn signal for whatever exit you are, and then usually there's 2 lanes on the roundabout, so if you're going to the third exit or all the way around, then you'd be on the inside, or if you were going to the first 2 exits, then you want to be on the outside lane. But that's pretty much it. That's definitely the hardest part. Ireland is absolutely stunning as far as driving, or just as far as natural beauty goes, and it's actually really fun to drive into. I went to Germany last year just for a driving trip because I like cars, obviously, and that was awesome as far as the speed goes, and then just all the cars there and stuff. But this is actually probably more rewarding for driving just because all the roads are so twisty and picturesque. Highway, or Germany was mostly all highways. Yeah, some of the back roads were pretty twisty and beautiful, but this is definitely more fun to drive. And this Renault, which we don't have in the United States, is a pretty good car. I have to say it's kind of like a cross between a Volkswagen and a Honda. It just has like a little bit of a German feel to it, but a little bit more deep plastic. And it definitely has lots of quirks, which I kind of pointed out before, and I've definitely found a few more. The only thing that's really driving me crazy in this car is the parking brake, the electronic parking brake, which you can't seem to like manually actuate. You have, when you're leaving, you have to hit the gas to get it to turn off, which is super annoying because when you're crawling in reverse, you usually aren't even using the gas. So that's a pain in the ass, but that's the only thing that's really been driving me crazy with the car so far. But today we're heading to the Dingle Peninsula, so hopefully there'll be some great shots to share with you guys. Thanks for watching.
The Dingle Peninsula is the northernmost in the County Kerry peninsulas. It is also the most western point in Ireland and in Europe. It is ringed by sandy beaches and jagged cliffs. Portions of the Star Wars movie The Last Jedi were filmed in this location. At the base of the peninsula there is a small fishing town of Dingle with plenty of shops, restaurants, pubs, and a distillery. The peninsula with normal traffic and frequent stops takes about an hour and a half to complete. On our day, the weather changed for the better in the afternoon. We decided to loop the peninsula again. There are guided tours available, but we reset our car's odometer and followed a written tour of the peninsula. Some sections are so narrow, be prepared to stop and back up to a turnout location for an oncoming bus. We chose Kilkenny as the stopping point on our way back to Dublin. Kilkenny is a medieval town in southeast Ireland. Its Grand Kilkenny Castle was built in 1195. Kilkenny is also the home of Smithwick's Brewery, which was the best produced brewery tour I've ever been on. On our way to Kilkenny, we chose to stop at the Rock of Cashel, which was right off the highway. St. Patrick baptized the King of Ireland at the Rock of Cashel, and Cashel was the capital of Ireland before Dublin. For our final leg of the journey, we chose to stop and do a short hike in the Wicklow Mountains before making it to Dublin, where our journey ended.
to